Let's start with the Los Angeles Lakers, Chris, because as always, they have captured our imaginations. Somehow, LeBron James teams reset their entire rosters every single year, and this one was no exception. So I think the single most surprising deal of free agency happened with the Lakers, which was 3 years, $33 million. I actually think it might end up being more than that, maybe some non-guarantees. Full mid-level exception for Gabe Vincent from the Miami Heat. And then they also went out with I believe, the biannual exception and got Taurean Prince, who was just cut by Minnesota, who actually just played against the Lakers in the play-in game, started because Jaden McDaniels broke his hand. What do you think of those two moves as kind of the additions to the core, which we still expect them to lock in, of Reeves and Rui, and then the two superstars?
Well, they've locked in Rui. I don't know if you saw this. 3 years, $51 million for Rui Hachimura, which is, I think, a very pretty good deal for Rui and for the Lakers. Well, Reeves, obviously, we think they're going to match whatever he gets, so that's the case. Brendan, they are just adding all the things you would want. Taurean Prince is like a more than serviceable 3-4 guy who can shoot threes. He's going to defend. It's a very clean role for him. And Gabe Vincent's just like another rugged, competent wing defender who they got on I think a very reasonable deal. They've added stuff that is just going to make their team deeper, more solid, more competent. It's a very modern NBA roster around LeBron and AD. He's experienced, he's versatile, and in a world where they were linked heavily in the last 2 days to Bruce Brown, they obviously could not compete with what Bruce Brown got from the Indiana Pacers. This is like a really, really excellent pivot point for them to go Gabe Vincent, re-sign Rui, to likely keep Reeves, to get Prince. Yeah. I think this is a really great bit of business for Lakers. And if right now, looking at this, I would look at this and think this is, to me, maybe the second best team in the Western Conference behind the defending champion Denver Nuggets.
You're doing that to me right off the bat. That's just disrespect. Yeah. It's fine. We're not going to talk about the Suns because their additions are, I don't want to say meaningless, but they're going to go as far as those teams take them. But I think that actually speaks to exactly what I was kind of getting at the top with the Lakers, which is that by really what they did at the deadline, resetting some of their salaries, we thought they might be a trade team with the Bamba and the Beasley contracts, but they end up getting rid of those in order to free up the mid-level. I'm not sure what they were really getting in a trade, and if you just tell me Vincent and Prince or the hypothetical of a trade with those two salaries, I kind of like what they did here, and the way you put it I think is solid, because somebody tweeted that Vincent is a perfect player for somebody that has other initiators, right? You don't want him to be like your pounded into the ground point guard. He's not Chris Paul, but like for a team where LeBron can run offense, where Reeves can run offense, where Davis can isolate, and Rui can handle the ball, and they're kind of probably going to add some more talent on top of that, Vincent is perfect. He can make spot-up threes. Even when his shot was cold at times throughout the years, he's always been a good spot-up three-point shooter. It's just the pull-ups that have fluctuated. And his size and everything else, it's like, well, if you're telling me he's just a shooter and kind of a point-of-attack defender, I think that fits the team better than D'Angelo Russell. On the same side, with Taurean Prince, it's like all he really has to be is better than Lonnie Walker and Troy Brown Jr., right? And I think he is. So they upgraded two positions and they kept their best players. I mean, they lost Schroeder, but oh well. Like, I think this is a team that they just made the conference finals and they're probably better. And they kept Vanderbilt.
Yeah, look, the question I think here with the Lakers is really just how healthy is LeBron? What's up with the foot? Has he seen the LeBron of feet this summer, and has he gotten like a clean bill of health? We have no idea really what's up with LeBron's foot and what that means for their season. That's kind of the big thing here. But if we're talking about what we can understand, they got Gabe Vincent, who's 26 and came off a really good playoff run. He just turned 27 on June 14th. He is Flag Day birthday for Gabe Vincent. They get Taurean Prince, who's like a little bit older, but still very much like a serviceable age range. Reeves is younger and ascending. Rui, you would think to some degree, is ascending still, even if I think the upside's a little bit less. Like, everything is like very smart on the right age curve. They didn't have to go get veteran minimum 35-year-old ring chasing guys. They didn't have to load up on those guys. They got guys that are actually competent for them and either are going to pretty much be what they are, and you can count on that, or they're still going to be ascending in the case of their two internal guys. And that's without whatever happens with D'Lo, whatever happens with some of the other moves, I'm sure they might get a ring-chasing veteran type to kind of round out the roster, but it'll probably be one of the better options in that case, right? So I think they've nailed this. I think, again, it comes back to LeBron for me and what he's going to be able to give you. He's still going to be the engine of this team, but like Gabe Vincent and what they have here as like a compliment to Reeves and Rui, and all of this just makes so much sense. Really good job by Rob Pelinka to get some of this done.
Yeah, they're probably going to be a better shooting team. That was kind of the one knock. I mean, obviously they were trying to figure out the Vanderbilt thing, and they have the problem where like Reeves was simultaneously one of their better shooters and one of their better ball handlers, so you can't have him do both things. So I would think Vincent helps you solve that a little bit too. I think he's just a little more consistent than Russell as a shooter, decision-making, lower role guy. He just slides into that better. What do you think of Cam Reddish? Is there any... I have one more question for you on the Lakers, but are you buying that there's any hype here, or is this just the clutch team doing their thing?
Well, Harrison Fagan, who runs the SB Nation NBA like sites, and he's kind of, I think, interim running Silver Screen role right now. I should know that as someone who does SB Nation stuff, but like I just forget. Okay. Like, a lot going on in my brain. Cam Reddish, to me, is worth a flyer, but he's very much in this clutch / Lakers like prestige zone where it's like he's a former top 10 pick. He has been around. Like, it seems like every year we hear GMs are like, oh, we believe we're the team that could get him. It's going to be 2050 and Cam Reddish is going to be the guy who the NBA GM's like, I think our team can be the one that finally helps him figure it out. And it's like, okay, maybe he's just not that good. But in terms of a guy who can defend some threes, who like is a younger guy, who has length, who can maybe just eat some minutes for you, I don't hate it. And it's like not a real cost,
Yeah.
It's not an actual cost for the Lakers. It's not like they didn't go out like use the MLE on him and then like not get Gabe Vincent. They got a real player, and this is like your insurance option.
Yeah, I think that's exactly how I feel. I mean, like Brown and Walker last year, those guys were pricey. I mean, the money wasn't. It doesn't matter that they spent it there, but even Reddish is like another level cheaper, right? So what's really the problem? The question I have, and you brought up the mid-level and how they could have used it. They obviously get Vincent. It seems like the cap sheet I'm looking at from the Hoops Hype guy, Yossi Gosselin, he says not full mid-level for Vincent. So I don't know what they have up their sleeve. It's kind of weird. But if I had told you we don't know what Brook Lopez is going to get unless a deal came down that I also missed, but I don't think he's signed anywhere. If I tell you that they could have gotten him on the mid-level and retained D'Angelo Russell, still get Prince, but does that iteration help you? Because you talked about LeBron's health, and AD's health is no sure thing either. I do look at this roster, and I'm like, I feel good about the guards and wings. They do need centers to insulate AD, even if just in the regular season as a backup or a spot starter or whatever, and I don't know who that is right now. So Lopez would have at least solved that, spaced the floor for them. He's older. Does that version or this version appeal to you more?
I think this version. I think they can probably go get a center at a certain number and get it. I also don't think Brook realistically is going to go for the MLE. Like it's just the world that we see like with Brook. It's the Bucks, or he gets a ton of money from the Houston Rockets, who are like they're like the Saudi Pro League of the NBA is what they've turned into with like this Fred VanVleet contract. Like that's what
the
Tillman Fertitta is. Well, no, they're the Qatar. Like there's some differences here, but like he's either gonna get a ton of money or he's not. And like, look, you look at centers, like I don't know, look at maybe Plumlee is ring chasing and he takes like the minimum for you for a year. Like you can probably figure that out and just get someone to eat some minutes for you if you really need to, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, center is a more replaceable position. I do just hope that they prioritize that because, they are one injury to those star players. That's always true, but, they don't want to get into that spot. And they figured it out down the stretch, but they were not exactly a deep team. They kind of just made do, and those guys played through injuries and everything else.